So, my new quest and question is, did early man, through shamanic rites and rituals, ceremonies, the use of hallucinogenics, and the experiencing or witnessing of the spiritual realm, teach him and her the art, the craft of illusion, of sorcery, of deception, of manipulation? Why do I ask that? I ask that because when I observe what's going on in the trees, in the environment, the interaction of the spirit realm, the Sasquatch, how things shapeshift and morph, are there one moment and are not, incomplete manifestations. Did that teach early man, especially those in power, the ones that would be called chiefs and rulers and kings and all that other jazz, that through illusion, confusion, bewilderment, one can control others' minds through empty, or essentially empty, but promises that cannot be fully fulfilled, causing man to, or individuals to, search and search and search for answers. This is a negative and a positive. The negative, of course, is that through the use of the craft of illusion, one can manipulate others, deceive them, cause them to do things that are against their best interests. On the positive, though, it causes man to use his mind, his imagination, to question, to look, to search for answers, and in the process found many, when I say some answers, but found many, many more questions. That's led man into all sorts of innovations, whether it's mechanical, alchemical, spiritual, the manipulation of the environment itself, its elements. Did man learn how to do that by watching these entities? Those that are in that fourth realm, I call the plasmic realm, the fourth physical realm, right? Solids, liquid, gas, plasma. How it all works is still a quest. I don't have the answers, but it makes me wonder, and it makes one think a little deeply about this fortunate experience I'm having when I ask deeper questions, pierce into the trees, pierce into the unknown, willing to see things that others would say are unacceptable. Right? Much of it is nothing there, or pareidolia, but once in a while there is actually something there in the images that I film in the trees and in the forest. My experiences, my encounters with what we call Bigfoot are real to me, and yet the supernatural element, the effect that they went through trees, came out of trees, popped out of the ground, basically, moved in unnatural ways, at least according to how we see things, makes one really ask deeper questions, at least for me. While others are searching for a physical specimen, a Sasquatch, I've come to the conclusion in my own personal reality that we're dealing, or at least I am dealing, with something that is ultra-dimensional. A term that's not mine. I believe it was Keel's term, but regardless of that, it's still ultra-dimensional. What does that mean to me? That means it's something that is beyond my physical, tactile experience, an understanding. It goes beyond the psyche, the mind, the body. Something much more deeper. When I bring this stuff up, I'm not knocking any particular group. I hope people realize this. I'm not knocking people who do practice the shamanic rituals and rites and practices. I'm not knocking medicine men and women and people who practice witchcraft and sorcery or religion or science or scientism and all that other stuff, because we're all under it and we're all practicing it one way or another. Case in point. It is a form, in my book at least, of sorcery and witchcraft, and what I'm doing right now. I am creating a video with images and music that have been made through man's own hands. Although I attempt to understand and to look into the natural, that being the trees and that around us, the atmosphere, the air. It's still, it's images that's man's own sorcery, if you will, created through the camera, through digital camera, through the lens of the camera. The music, someone conjured it all up. I'm conjuring it all up and turn it into a video, hoping to represent somewhat of reality, my reality. These are deep questions for me. Maybe they don't matter to you. At the end of the day, one of these questions I have will probably never be answered. A great example would be God. We argue all day long who God is and what God is. Male, female, spirit, some entities far distant, somewhere here, there, and everywhere. You know what? We argue because we don't know. My hope and faith is in the Creator God and the Lord of all spirits. It does seem to influence me in my life. Is it strictly just psychological? By me talking about it, does it somehow affect the ether and that which is around me, the spirit realm, these entities? Do they manifest simply to entertain themselves or to deceive or mess around with me? These are questions that I'm sure that shamans were asking thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. And many other people, when they were doing their rites and rituals, whether using hallucinogenics or not. The observation of nature itself brings about much questions. Just imagine what it must have been thousands and thousands of years ago, when there was much more diversity, different entities, beings, physically. And then we think about the spiritual, whether they're human, whether they're not. They're deep questions, worthy questions. Some people are out just for an experience. That's part of their journey. That's what they want. It's not my right to judge them. I'm out to find out the truth of my own reality with the hope of making some sense, meaning of my existence here on this plane. Why is my existence the way it is? Certainly, a big part of it is the manipulations and cause and effect of others and of myself, right? Decisions I've made in my life. Decisions that were made long before I ever was born by other people of how my course in life would be. Does it lead all the way up to God? These are good questions. In my journey in Christendom, I've come to realize a lot of things as I try to be as honest and as humble as possible. Not religious, not fanatical, not dogmatic, that I don't have really the answers. Words on page are not the answers. We want them to be the answers. Therefore, the illusion is created. The sorcery is created. Words on pages are not the same thing as reality. What one is really experiencing inwardly and outwardly. It influences it to the point that we believe that it's real. But belief does not mean reality. These are good questions to ask. It's part of a journey. So I do believe in a creator God because it gives me hope. He, this source, this spirit that created all things and the multiple dimensions that apparently are real from what I'm filming, not just what people are saying, but my own experience, tell me or give me, it might just be an illusion, by the way, hope. That illusion is worthy of having a positive, right? You see, without that illusion, I would probably give up on life. Because I don't have the things that the world says a man needs to have in order to be feel or believe they are successful. Materially, socially, especially on that part. But, when we call spiritually, which I think is a blend between the psyche and that which is around us, in the hope that the Creator's involved in it, makes one, for me at least, think much deeper, contemplate things, learn not to judge so much, which has been a difficult path, because you learn about the darkness of this world. You get wrapped up in a cult, a religion that offers promises that they can't keep or make. And in your belief, in your reading things, you argue and debate because that's what the book says, the little things that you experience, and you think the other person is wrong, and you're right. Well, it turns out, high probability that none of us are right about anything. It makes one humble. Makes one realize judging other people and their course and path in life, as long as it doesn't collide with mine and cause me more pain or suffering, or they want to do that and cause hurt and pain in my life, it's none of my business. In fact, I can learn from it, one way or the other. Life is a lot more, shall we say, mysterious than we want to admit at times, at least for me. Although this stage of my life, I'm embracing that mystery. Mystery schools, I do believe, ultimately lead to something if you get yourself involved in one and another. I believe Christianity is a form of mystery religion. But so is all the other Abrahamic faiths, and so is many other religions. What it leads to, hopefully, the hero's journey, or enslavement, entrapment, ensnarement, where somebody else is going to tell you how you're going to live your life, how you're supposed to think and believe, or you get on this hero's journey, this path, the great quest to know oneself, what is around us, what is beyond us. One learns to have one's own identity, self-actualization, self-realization, acceptance of the circumstances around one, realizing there's you have very limited ability to change those circumstances. Under the illusion, you might be able to get yourself a bigger rat cage, a trophy cow, all the trappings of this life, but you're still in this cage left to all the rest of us. What did happen to us? I think this is an eternal question that man has asked for since he became aware, self-aware. Whatever happened to him? This is where religion comes in again, where men use religion to ensnare others, because they know deep down inside this is a question in all of us. Is God real? Is there a creator? What is our force? Is there beings? Are there gods? Does anybody care? Why am I going through what I'm going through? You know what I'm saying? Why are we going what we're going through? Is this really a choice I made, or the choice someone else made? As one studies and learns seriously with an open mind, open heart, and what that really means is a critical mind, asking questions, asking for as much proof as one can acquire. And you know what? If they don't have that proof, then you can still believe in what they say, but you can't say you know for certain that it's the truth. That's what comes to God. I have hope and faith in the Creator. I see the trees, the birds, all the many animals, the fish, ourselves. Ourselves are quite fascinating. We just don't fit in, really. Something happened. Something interfered or changed things. Is part of the change going back to the shamanic rituals, the quests, the visions, the ceremonies, the rites and rituals, the experiences, the visions in particular. Seeing things and entities and beings that drew into man's mind great questions of what are they? Who are they? Is it real? Searching eternally for these things. A lot of people think that religion is simply about life and death, the end of life. But for many of us, it has nothing to do with it. I don't even think about that. So, I'm not worried about this. Oh my gosh, you're going to die. I'm just like, I can't wait for that to happen. They say that, I say, well, why don't you do something about it, Mike? I said, I'm going to go along with that, the whole idea, the belief that the Creator's even in charge of my last breath. And so in the meantime, I'm going to do my quest. Am I definitely more, like people say, than a bit of the Creator, a bit of the Source, a bit of, they call the universe, God, Heavenly Father, this Lord of all spirits. Many, many, many questions with no definitive answers to any of them. It's something to think about. When I look back at these images, the things that I've filmed, the things that I've seen with my own eyes, last year having two entities that looked much like gargoyles had heads pop out of trees. Was it just me having a moment? Was I hallucinating? I feel very, very confident I wasn't. Was I hallucinating when I saw that first time I had an encounter with that looked like, at least, what we call Bigfoot, as I stood next to a crow and a medicine man? How about the fact that my big brother predicted 24 hours earlier that I would run into a Native American? And a place where I live where you don't see them very often, if ever. That might be the closest thing, being a half-breed. And shamanic rituals and principles were throughout all the world. No particular cult or culture has right to ownership of it. We personally have that right. So we're going to look into things. I don't know where I'm going. I just get this nudging of I need to start looking up in the heavens. But is it during the day or the night? And why? In the meantime, would I have another encounter with something that looks like Bigfoot or an alien or another human being? Maybe it doesn't look like any of those things. Maybe it's just mist. Then if I have those encounters, what's the point in it? Having those encounters? Does it has anything to do with me? Do I cause these things to be manifested? Am I actually practicing the same things that at one time in my life I was condemning people for doing? We call it witchcraft, sorcery, magic, channeling, all this kind of stuff, right? Maybe we've all been doing it all along and we don't even realize it. They just use this stuff to make each other fight. For anybody that I have condemned in the past based on my ignorance, my self-righteousness, please forgive me. Today I wouldn't do that unless you were doing something negative towards me. Ultimately, I don't see anything that could possibly be more powerful than the Creator himself. And if it doesn't exist, then we are basically being manipulated, possibly at least, by this other dimension. Some call it the third dimension, the spiritual dimension. I think it's something different. I call it fourth dimension. It's more in line with something that's, I don't know, quantum mechanics maybe. Maybe, I don't know much about it, to be honest with you. It bores the hell out of me, to be honest with you. I'm saying that, and you know what I mean? I studied a little bit of it, and it's just like, these guys are just shooting in the dark, just like all the rest of us. That doesn't mean it's wrong or right. That's how we move forward, right? The problem is, so much of life is nothing more than an illusion, a fantasy, entertainment. We believe so much that we can never prove to anyone. Then we beat each other over the head with it. It's a fascinating journey if you let it happen. Then comes a Bigfoot. I know fellow researchers, they think that this, that, or the other. You know what I mean? The whole spectrum. They could be all right and wrong at the same time. Or partly right, but mostly wrong. Or mostly right or partly wrong. By the way, this happens in everything in life. When people truly apply the scientific method, you get to this hypothesis. That eventually, hopefully, we'll get to a working theory. It's still a work. It's still a work in progress. It's never ending. There's never an absolute in much of anything. Really. Except you're going to have to sleep, and you're going to have to eliminate all the physical things, right, in this avatar that we're in. Who are we really? What do our spirits really look like? A lot of people believe they know absolutely, but how much of that is just imagery once again and sorcery and illusions? The questions never end. The uncertainty never ends. So that's why I said we shouldn't judge each other much. I'm trying not to judge everyone. Unless you're a real jerk to me, then, I'll be a jerk back to you for a little bit. But a lot of times, I learn from that. I look at myself. I see where other people are at. I see my own shortcomings. Fallings? That's not even right. Shortcomings, failures, faults. Man, do I have a lot of them. It's almost like I'm a reflection of that which is around me, right? As I peer deeply, sincerely into the darkness, to the abyss, spiritually, in my quest to know, I see more of who I am. An entity, a being full of bewilderment. At the same time, awe. Never any questions. Never any quest. who are we, really? If we really step back, who are we? There is no religion out there that gives the answer. There's no priests. I mean, they'll give you an answer, but it's not. They can't prove it. And when you start asking too many questions, they just kick you out of the cult. So, who are we? Who is this creator? Why are we here? I mean, I'm quite intrigued by this reincarnation soul trap matrix. Now remember again, it's another man's constructs, ideas. It's not absolute. Seems as though we all recognize many people who deeply reflect about what's going on and have the internal dialogue come to similar conclusions where we're kind of in a trap, in a prison. Not even kind of, we actually are. It's not simply just job and where we are and how much freedom we have to go from point A to point B, and will we ever go to point Z or M or wherever it may be. It's all been laid out for us, literally, by others, not just human beings, it seems. So many questions. Don't like being in this prison myself. I don't like not having a lot of the answers. Maybe there's a reason why I keep searching. Others are quite content with that. I find it a violation, an offense, that the only thing that's given to me is illusions and entertainment. Solely, with nothing more to it than illusions, speculations. Maybe I'm condemning myself as well a little bit as I make this video. But a big part of what I do this is to reach out to others. Why? To be heard. To try to understand. To feel that I'm valid some way, somehow, even if it's just by another person. I really don't care about the numbers and, making money off this and all that kind of stuff. It's not who I am. I'm at some deeper level now. Deeper level for me. And that is, it could be all BS. That deep level might be all BS too, right? I mean, I might be completely fooled myself. Sorry for the wishy-washiness, but just being honest. I know an awful lot of people who have to have these absolutisms, but they're all constructs given to somebody else. They're absolutely convinced it's absolutely right until you start asking the questions. They melt down. They go nuts. They go, oh my God, to parrot all the things that someone else taught them to parrot. Really pretty much to shut you down, and to dismiss you, and to gaslight you, and get you out of the way. Because it is a very painful process to look in the mirror. It's a very painful process to look around you. It's a very painful process to realize I'm not much better than the pet rodents my son has in their cage, behind me, chewing away at some cardboard. They're in their cage. The budgie that my son has, and I got him, it's in his cage, and I'm in my cage. All praise and glory to this entity, this being, this force, this spirit, this thing we call the Creator God. Hope it's doing well. Hope you're doing well, Creator God. All praise and glory to you. What is going on, God? Why did you create this construct and put us in it? What's the purpose? Are we really nothing more than little units of loosh, a part of some giant loosh factory that's feeding some other universe, something parallel next to us, something in a different dimension or different energy frequency? We go on and on. We have no idea. The great ideas, great concepts. But it's this problem. We don't know. That's part of the problem, too, is that we don't know. I don't find that really that acceptable or appealing. Now, maybe some others do know. Truly know. I mean, I'm not saying believe in or believe they know, but truly know. But they're not sharing it with me. They're not sharing it with you. So I think this was an important message, important rant. I think it's going to lead me into my next phase of learning and understanding. Yes. It seems to me that the trees truly are the neuron of this creation that we live on and walk upon. Right? Deep into the ground go the roots. A healthy tree at least has. Reaching high into the ether, into the atmosphere. Creating its unique lattice web of energy that other entities can then feed upon and travel through. Can at times happen to us as well. I wonder sometimes if all of us in some way are possessed in some way or another. Although a lot of people claim otherwise. I do believe that we can also have the power, if there is such a thing, to demand other entities are in our avatar to get the hell out. You have that power. More than a priest ever will. What a journey. It's probably time to shut up, but anyways, I thought this was an important message. I'll make a video of this, send it out there to the ether. Maybe somebody will hear it. Maybe someone has a few of the answers for real. Or maybe they have their own speculation and guesses and questions that they want to share with me. Who knows where this is going to lead? You know, I'm not really interested in having a following unless I'm interested in people who have the same or similar questions, who are on their own quest, who want to share their quest with me as well, to help me in my quest. That's much more interesting, much more deeper than, playing roles, acting. We seem to do a lot of that. It goes nowhere, really. The illusion of security, the illusion of self-identity, of purpose, of understanding. All praise to the Most High, Lord of all spirits. May you all have a great day. Most importantly, Lord of all spirits, Spirit Guide, may you be blessed a billion times more than the rest of us, and help us in our journey. Help us to see clearly, so that we can get closer to you. Clearly.
Then Commander Lockhart, Walters, and Furneaux in the second ship. First ship Sirius, second ship Draco. Bravo, land on Venus and return.
3 and 3. Sirius return 5, leaving 1. Then 1 of 6 must remain. That 1 shall be me.
Lunar Station 7. This is Command Ship Vega. Command Ship Vega.
smooth shapes in the universe. So I don't think we can do better. I mean, a matter of speech, we can say, yes, I have an idea, or I imagine that, or I have an inspiration, but all that are words. I think the word more accurate is to be available. And when you're available, like a radar, then the message comes.